Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. So now that we're through the bulk of camp, one of the things I can do for the first time this year is start to try to predict the 53-man roster for the Cleveland Browns. There's a lot to consider here. There's a lot to think about. But before I get into the 53-man breakdown, again, if you want to join my Madden Online Connected franchise or my College Football 26 Connected Dynasty, make sure you join the Patreon Dog Check tier membership to guarantee your spot today. I just started adding people in the College Football 26 Dynasty. Also, if you are already getting your invite for the College Football 26 Dynasty, I'm going to try to make sure everybody picks a Big Ten team so everybody plays each other for the most part. And then obviously the Madden 26 connected franchise, everybody, there's 32 spots there. So make sure you sign up. Patreon Dog Check tier is the best way to guarantee you get into that league. If you are a badged member, you might be able to get in if I need to fill spots because we didn't get enough from the Dog Check tier members. So make sure you go check that out if that is something that you're interested in. But let's predict this Browns 53-man roster. All right, so we go through the 53-man roster. The first thing to note is right now, there are 21 players who I'm like, there's no chance in hell that the Browns would ever not keep these guys on the active 53. So if we start out here with special teams, Corey Bojorquez, he's safe. Rex Sunahar, he's likely safe. The next people on this list are on the defense. So Myles Garrett, no chance he's not staying. Malik Collins, Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit. Offense, Jerry Jeudy, Joe Bitonio, Ethan Pulsick, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin, David Njoku, Joe Flacco, Jamari Thrash, Cedric Tillman. All those players can sleep easy at night. And then you look at the players who are on this kind of questionable, not technically on the list yet, but they will be, right? Mike Hall is most certainly, and I'm sorry you can't see Mike Hall right here, so let me change that right there. So Mike Hall is most definitely going to make the team and be on the 53-man roster. Really no doubt about that. Same thing is true with Quinshon Judkins. The question with Quinshon is he going to have to be on the active 53 or will he be suspended before he hits the active 53? I believe when a player is suspended, they don't count towards your 53 active total. So he's the only one that's kind of questionable because his status is questionable. But the rate that this is going, I expect him to have to be claimed on the 53-man roster. Players like Martin Emerson, JOK, who are on the injured reserve for the whole year, won't count against the 53, still will be under contract with the team. David Bell, very much a question mark. Deshaun Watson's likely going to be on IR. I know every other week people try to scare you and thinking that he's going to be back on the team and healthy for week one. He's not. It's easy to get to a certain place with your Achilles injury where it looks like you might be ready to play, but those last final steps take forever in recovering from Achilles injury. We saw that with Deshaun Watson, not Deshaun Watson, but with Aaron Rodgers last year, where it was like, oh my God, he might play 3 months after the injury. Look, he's running, he's throwing, and look at all the stuff that he's doing. And then, it ended up taking him a standard amount of time, 8 months. So that's there. And then obviously the Browns had 2 players that retired, Ellerson Smith, who wasn't really on the team, and then Jordan Hicks, who was and won't be on the team, won't count against the 53. So that's where we're starting at, right? The Browns have 21 spots of 53 locked up already. So who's going to get those other spots? Let's start with the offense. We'll start with the offense, yeah, because I think that's a more interesting conversation to be had. Offense. Well, actually, let's start with start with the offense. Offense, we know that Jerry Jeudy's going to make the team. DeJuan Jones, I would add him as making the team. So now we're up to 22. Jerome Ford, very likely to make the team. The only reason I don't have him highlighted as a super lock is because there could be a trade that pops up that they see too interesting to pass up. So now we're at 23 spots, right? Jerome Ford's going to make the team. If we go offensive line, Corn Lucas is going to make the team. Tevin Jenkins is going to make the team. Luke Whippler is going to make the team. And so is Zach Zinter. So it's +4 spots there. Now we're up to 27. Harold Fannon's going to make the team, no doubt really about it. And then your 2 rookie quarterbacks are definitely going to make the team here. So it's 27 +3. We're at 30 spots here. I'll double check at the end just to make sure I didn't overcount something. Dylan Sampson is definitely going to make the team. That's +1. And that's pretty much it for the guarantees, right? So now that we've added those guys in, let's count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 guys on offense. Definitely going to make the team. Now we're going to highlight some maybes, right? Some guys who might make the team. So 19 locks on offense. We're going to play the logistical game here. So 19 locks on offense. Again, we could double check that again. We know that this is going to be 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 locks, right? Don't think anybody highlighted here is really in trouble to be cut. Let's go to some question marks here, right? Deontay Johnson, huge question mark. Are the Browns going to roster him? DeAndre Carter, he seems like a lock because they're not treating him like he's in a competition. But I'm going to put him as a question mark here. David Bell is another question mark. Pierre Strong is another question mark. Amani Marshall is another question mark here, right? Javion Cohen is a question mark. I think he's going to be unlikely just because the Browns have so much tackle and guard depth that he seems pretty unnecessarily. And honestly, he's been outplayed by Jackson Barton, who I also think could make the team if they want to keep 10 offensive linemen. Gage Larverdin, I think he's a long shot. I think he's likely for the practice squad. But he's another guy you got to highlight there. And I think Kenny Pickett is another guy you have to highlight there as a maybe might make the team. I think Kenny's going to make the 53-man roster. That's my inkling. He's going to make the 53-man roster after camp. I think the Browns will try to do what they did with I think the Browns are going to try to do what they did with Tyler Huntley last year, where they tried to ship him off. We'll see if they're successful in that endeavor, but that is something that they're going to try to do. So if we count the locks, it's 19, and then the possibles, right? And we're not going to get this down to a perfect 53 right now, but 19 locks on offense. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 possibles. So overall, we got about 28 guys on offense that you could keep. So let's move to the defense here. So you're definitely not going to keep all 28 of those guys, but those 28 guys that you're going to have a conversation about. So 19 locks, 9 possibles, offense. Let's look at the defense here, all right? So we know the definite not gonna get cut guys, right? Mahmoud Diabite, I would add him. Devin Bush, I would add him. Greg Newsome is not going anywhere. Same with Ronnie Hickman. Isaiah McGuire is super safe. I think at this point, Alex Wright is safe. But I'm still wondering, right? Shelby Harris is pretty safe here. Mike Hall Jr. is pretty safe here. Let's see here. I would say Winston Reed is likely safe. Let me do that again. Winston Reed is likely safe. And then everybody else you would probably have questions about. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 locks on defense. Let's look at the possibles. Right? Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, he's possible. I think the emergence of Alex Wright having a great camp has put him in kind of a particular spot here. Usually, I think Sam Kamara would have put together a good enough camp to make the 53, but the Browns are just so loaded in the interior defensive tackle that I don't know if they're going to be able to carry Sam Kamara. So I'll add Sam as somebody they like to keep. They probably like to keep Aiden Huntington, and they definitely would like to keep Jawan Briggs. Jerome Baker probably going to make the team as well. That would be 5 linebackers, and I think that's all they're going to keep. You can add Nathaniel Watson to that list, but I think he's likely for the practice squad. Miles Harden probably going to make the team. Cam Mitchell is a big question mark at this point. And I think they're probably more happy with KZ and Nick Needham than they are necessarily with the rest of their corners. He seems to be somebody they like. Chidozie Anuzium. I don't think any of these other guys are making the team. And then maybe Tony Brown makes the team as well, right? So Rayshawn Jenkins there too. So 15 locks on defense. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 possibles for the defense. And that means that total we have 28. So already we're above 53. We haven't even gotten to special teams. Let's get to special teams right here. So Corey Bojorquez definitely going to make the team, right? Really no doubt about that. Corey Bojorquez is definitely going to make the team. Now Dustin Hopkins or Andre Smite or Schmidt, probably going to be Dustin Hopkins that makes the team with Schmidt on the practice squad. So we'll put Dustin here. Schmidt's going to be on the practice squad, not Smite. Kick return, DeAndre Carter. I believe I already marked him safe or marked him possible on the other roster here. So that's where we're at here with kicker. So kicker, punter, kick returner, he's already marked. And then long snapper. So 3 locks. You know you're going to keep a kicker. 3 locks. And then 1 possible, but not really. You're going to keep 3 guys on this special teams page right here. So 3 locks there on special teams. So we're at 3. So 56 plus 3. We're at 59 here. We need to get to 53. So there are naturally about 6 spots that have to go. Schmidt's going to be on the practice squad, right? So that's the first guy I'm putting on the practice squad is Andre Schmidt. All right, so Schmidt is going to be on the practice squad. So let's erase him. So he's gone. We've erased him. Let's go ahead and make my eraser much smaller because this is really giant. That's too small. All right, so there's the defense. Let's get to the defense, right? Who is expendable on defense for this team? Right? Let's see. I would say not the linebacker, but I think Nathaniel Watson. Probably take him off the list. Maybe try to get him back for the practice squad. Jerome Baker already does everything that Watson does. So I take him off the list. So we're already down 1. We need 5 more. Miles Harden, I would keep him. I mean, like you got to find somebody to take Cam Mitchell's spot, right? So I guess Cam Mitchell's safe, but man, he's not had a good camp at all. I don't feel good about playing him, and I hope we find a different solution at nickel corner than what we have right now. Sam Kamara or Aiden Huntington, Juwan Briggs. We're not going to keep this many interior defensive tackles, right? Probably keeping 4 edges. Yeah, we're probably keeping 4 edges and 6 defensive tackles, so 10 total, right? That's usually how they go. We know the 4 edges are Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire, Joe, Myles Garrett. That's pretty locked in. So it's all between what? There are 2 spots, 3 guys between Aiden Huntington, Juwan Briggs, and Sam Kamara. I think this is where we finally say goodbye to Sam Kamara, who's had a pretty solid camp, but I think this is probably where we say goodbye to Sam Kamara. So now we're down to 4 spots to get to 53, right? Probably going to open up a spot here at safety because, the Browns aren't going to keep 5 safeties. They're probably going to keep 3 or 4 safeties, right? They're going to keep 6 corners. I don't know if this is the 6 corners they're going to keep, but they're going to keep 6. The question is like Nick Needham. Do they count him as a safety? Do they count him as a corner? If they count him as a corner, then Cam Mitchell's out, right? You cut Cam Mitchell, you keep Nick Needham, you put him as a corner, and then you can keep one of Rayshawn Jenkins or Damontae Kazee. I don't know which one they're happier with right now. All I know is that Rayshawn Jenkins did not play in the second preseason game. Damontae Kazee did, so I'm pretty sure they're just less happy with him. And then, so that's another spot there. So we're down to 3 spots. So that's 3 cuts. Yeah, 3 cuts. So we're down to 3. And I would say Tony Brown. Let's imagine Nick Needham takes Cam Mitchell's spot and we count Nick Needham as a DB, even though we haven't seen it. All Cam. Let's say that happens. And then boom, you're down 4 spots. So now we go to the offense, and we only really need 2 cuts here to get down to 53. So Gage Larvin, he's not going to make the team. That's probably the first guy off the list. Good camp. We see it every year. Somebody has a great camp. Everybody wants that guy to make the team. It's a fun story. I don't think it's going to happen. Not because he's not a good player. It's just because there's still some polishing needed to be there, and you can definitely fit Gage on your practice squad. So we're going to get Gage out of there. He's going to make the practice squad for sure. But Gage is out of there. And now we are, 5 cuts. I would say between Javion Cohen and Jackson Barton. Probably going to see Javion go. Six. So I think we're at 53 right now with 4 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, plus Quinshawn, and then DeAndre Carter and David Bell making the team. But how many wide receivers is that? That'd be 6. Be 6 wide receivers. Yeah, I think we got enough. Let's count it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 26 on offense. Let's mark it down. 26 on offense. Defense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 on defense. So that is 50. And then 1, 2, 3, Dustin Hopkins, Corey Bojorquez, and the long snapper. We are at 53. So this is why I say it's really not impossible that the Browns keep 4 quarterbacks, especially for that initial 53. They look at all the guys that we cut. There's nobody there you don't think you can get back, right? Javion Cohen, you can get him back on the practice squad. The one guy I think you can't get back is Sam Kamara, but I think you're okay with that. You can get Bookie Watson back, right? The big question is are you going to cut Cam Mitchell or not? I don't know what you do with that, but if you could bring Cam Mitchell back on the practice squad, I would do it. But that's going to be the tough move, right? Do you cut Nick Needham? Do you keep Cam Mitchell? That's really what it came down to. Because I'm not gonna I don't think the Browns have enough impressive DBs on this roster that you want to roster a ton of them. I'd be surprised if that were the case. It's Andrew Berry, so Andrew Berry loves the roster DB, so I'm not going to be surprised if that's the case. But we'll see, right? They might not view Nick Needham as an answer there at slot corner. If they don't view Nick Needham as an answer there at slot corner, it's going to be Cam Mitchell there, right? And they're probably going to cut Nick Needham. So we'll see what happens on the defensive side. I think there's some questions there. Offensively, we kind of just went over this. It makes sense. They're going to go into the season probably with 4 running backs, maybe even 5 if they have to roster Quincy. They'll roster him. Everybody will freak out about it. Oh my God, the Browns have 5 running backs, but knowing week 1, they're probably going to go into the season with 4 running backs. Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong, and Monty Marshall. Monty Marshall, I think, is the one camp story that's going to stick. He's a really good zone runner. They have a lot of guys who can succeed in gap scheme, but he's a big body zone runner who can break a tackle or two. And I think that's going to be very useful for this team. Jackson Barton, I think, also makes the team. He's put together some decent tape there at left tackle as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with the 53 prediction here. The real question is, like, Mike Hall, does he come off IR? If he does come off IR, then you're good there. Let me make sure I counted Mike Hall. Yeah, Mike Hall definitely got counted. David Bell, does he make the roster? I think there's a chance, right? Quinshon Junkins definitely makes the roster. The question is, what's his status going to be week 1? Is he going to be on the 53-man roster? Now, if the Browns are able to move off of Kenny Pickett successfully, they trade him. They probably work back Cam Mitchell. Tyler Huntley also, I think, ends up on the practice squad for this team if he still has eligibility left. But yeah, that's my 53-man roster prediction. I'll cycle through it one more time. This is special teams. This is defense. This is offense. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below of my 53-man prediction. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.